Good afternoon and welcome to Nordic Market News. It's Friday, February 16th and we are recording this show in Stockholm at the news agency Direkt studio on behalf of Infront Finance. Let's look at the market indices as of 12 o'clock today. After 3 weeks of overall falling stock prices, the market has turned up this week, with the Nordic index OMXN 40 recovering 4%. The Nordic index is flat at 0 so far this year. The markets temporarily sank during Wednesday when the higher-than-expected inflation numbers from the other side of the Atlantic made investors worry that Federal Reserve might raise American interest rates faster. Later during the day, however, the market shrugged off the fear and resumed an upwards trend. In Sweden, H&M was in focus as the company had its first ever capital markets day. The leadership, along with CEO Carl-Johan Persson at the front, tried to convince investors that the company is on track with its strategy to tackle the e-commerce changes that affect retail business. The investors were not convinced and already very pressured H&M stock fell almost 5% during Wednesday. Later in the week, however, the stock recovered parts of the losses. H&M also scrapped its preliminary plan to offer its shareholders to reinvest yearly dividend into new stock, something that analysts had described as a light form of a rights issue. Companies that have suggested increased or extra dividend have been rewarded with big gains on the stock market lately. The construction and civil engineering company Peab was a fresh example during the week with substantial gains after its quarterly report. Other companies that raised their dividend and gained were the online gambling company Kindred and the cosmetic company Oriflame. One of this week's winners was the gaming company THQ Nordic that gained 42% on the day that it informed about an acquisition of Koch Media for over 120 million euros. Koch Media's revenue is several times larger than THQ Nordic's. An analyst at Pareto Securities said that the acquisition appears to be extremely positive for THQ Nordic, partly because the price paid seems very low compared with Koch Media's earnings. In Norway, the airline company Norwegian fell on the Oslo Stock Exchange after an earnings report that showed a loss of almost 1 billion Norwegian crowns during the year. The quarterly result was also clearly lower than analysts had expected, according to Inquiry Financial. The largest disappointment stems from cost, said an analyst at Pareto Securities about the fast-growing airline. The oil and gas giant Statoil gained after reporting an unexpectedly high operating profit for the fourth quarter. The increase was the result of higher gas volumes in Norway and improvements in the international business. The company sees increased opportunities to buy back its own shares, but prioritizes to strengthen and balance sheet in the short run. Several Norwegian seafood companies moved higher during the week. Prices of salmon have held up well despite unexpectedly large harvest volumes, said an analyst at Carnegie to the news agency TDN Direkt. In Copenhagen, much attention was given to the phone company TDC that last Friday received an offer worth 38 billion Danish crowns by pension funds and an Australian investment company Macquarie. TDC gained significantly after having said yes to the proposal on Monday. TDC also informed that they no longer wanted to purchase MTG Nordics. That can complicate things for the planned merger between the Swedish companies Tele2 and Com Hem. With MTG's sell-off to TDC not happening, the authorities might think that Kinnevik, who owns parts of several involved companies, could get a too strong position on the Swedish TV market. MTG will continue to develop themselves at full speed, said the CEO Jørgen Madsen Lindemann to news agency Direkt after the news that MTG's deal with TDC will not happen. In Finland, the airline company Finnair reported slightly higher earnings and sales than what analysts had expected. The company also tripled its dividend to 30€, which was more than expected. The shares were up double digits during Friday's trading in Helsinki. That's all for today. Have an awesome weekend and see you again next Friday.